my position on that.
We go now to Mr. Brad Sherman of California.
Secretary, I'd like to thank you and others in the administration for your hard work and for actually enforcing the sanctions laws that we in Congress pass. We've got a number of Iran sanctions statutes on the book. Some have waivers, some don't. With regard to those that don't have waivers, can you pledge now that this administration will enforce the laws on the books to the best of your ability?
Absolutely, I think we do.
Thank you.
Yeah, so,
I am concerned because as the
Are you
ranking,
talking about the waiver on the oil?
I was just talking about all of the sanction laws. Some have waivers, some don't. I'm concerned, as the ranking member points out, prior to the first 6 months of this year, we had dozens and dozens of individual companies sanctioned because we discovered the information that indicated that they had violated U.S. sanctions laws. Since Rouhani was elected in the middle of this year, one, and you've identified it. So we've gone from dozens and dozens to one. I'm hoping that we're not slow-walking things because we're so happy with Rouhani. I want to thank the administration for recognizing the importance of the sanctions bills that Congress has passed. But the sanctions that the administration lauds now, you opposed, or the administration opposed, you weren't there at the time, every single one of them did. Most significantly, the banking sanctions.
That's the virtue by having voted for them.
Yes, but it is the administration, not just any one cabinet officer, that makes policy. And Secretary Geithner, speaking for the administration at the time, said that he strongly opposed those banking sanctions and that they might actually benefit the regime. And in fact, all the administrations have opposed all these sanctions. They're the reason we didn't pass any sanctions 2001 to 2008. The administration's the reason we didn't pass any in 2009 or 2013. And now you're here saying, don't do anything now because we'll be with you and urging sanctions if this deal doesn't go forward. My fear is we won't be able to act in a week because the only way we can act in a week is if the administration is with us. And every administration has been opposed to every sanction since before I got here. Now, as to the importance of the sanctions relief that we've granted, when international companies know no sanctions in 2013, no sanctions in 2014, that's enough of a window for them to exploit the loopholes in the existing laws. Since the Geneva deal, instead of the Iranian economy careening, it's rebounding, a 30% increase in the value of the rial. Chinese oil companies, Turkish government, Japanese banks, all saying now's the time to do business with Iran. And the YPO group, which is members in all of our districts, announces an international business conference in Tehran. I was briefed by the administration on this deal, and I was impressed a little bit less after I read it. Because, Mr. Secretary, you say it halts and rolls back the program. The fact is they've got 9,000 centrifuges turning now, and they'll turn throughout, they'll spin throughout the term of this agreement. So the centrifuges are literally rolling forward. You've told us that they can't increase their stockpile of enriched uranium. Yes, they can. They just have to convert it to uranium oxide. Well, that doesn't neutralize it creates a new stockpile of enriched uranium oxide, which can be turned into uranium hexafluorine in just a couple of weeks. And the Wisconsin project on nuclear arms control calculates that they will, during the term of this agreement, which is really 7 months, create enough enriched uranium for 4 nuclear bombs. Now, the one issue before Congress is whether we should adopt sanctions that go into effect in this summer, or instead that it's safe to wait. As you point out, we can pass sanctions in a week if you're lobbying for them. But if you're, as every administration has, trying to prevent them, you're asking us to be asleep and do nothing while 9,000 centrifuges turn and a new uranium stockpile is created. And as a practical matter, this agreement doesn't go into it doesn't start, the 6 months doesn't start for many weeks. 6 months after that is late July, and anyone who's looked at the congressional calendar knows We will not be able to pass a controversial bill opposed by the administration if we don't start unless we take action well before July. Are we in session in August, September, or October? Yeah, a couple of weeks. It appears my time is about to expire. But
Hope you enjoyed my answer.
if you, the one thing I'd like you to focus on is, why are you convinced that the 16,000 kilos of uranium oxide that Iran will create during this agreement is not a threat?
Well,
And do you disagree that it can be converted to gas very easily?
it can be if you have a conversion capacity, and Iran doesn't have a conversion capacity, and they're not allowed to build one.
So it'll
would
take a
disagree.
couple more weeks.
Well, no. Congressman, you're really setting up a straw man, and it's really not a hard one to knock down because there's just no reality to the scenario you're drawing. First of all, I was chair of the hearings on the Iran sanctions, and I was working with the administration. The administration did not oppose them. They opposed the timing of it. They had a timing issue because they thought they had the prerogative to be able to negotiate, as I am now arguing we should have. But the Senate, in its infinite wisdom, decided no and went ahead and passed them, and the timing was decided for the administration. Now, I don't know any administration that doesn't like to conduct its foreign policy on its terms, and I don't know any Congress that doesn't like to, weigh in. Now, here's the deal. There's a way for us to get the best of both worlds. I have come here representing the President, telling you that the President is committed. If this fails, he is going to want to ratchet up because we're going to have to do what we have to do to make sure they don't get a nuclear capacity. Now, this is important, though, Mr. Chairman. I know but you got to have a chance to answer some of the questions here. I think it's important.